Well, we got something unusual to diagnose today. 2001 Genie S-40 diesel boom crane. Customer complaint is starts it up, it runs for like 4 seconds and then it just shuts off. And this house needs to be built. It's actually my neighbor's project. So he called me up, wanted me to take a look at this thing. Let's see if we can make heads or tails out of this thing. Well, here's the control panel. Let's see, key on. This is the start. Do we have a dead? Oh, there we go. Something's alive. Let's see. Starts right up. And that's it. Try again. Starts right up. Alright. That's the symptoms. Now, I don't know. Start from scratch, I guess. Alright, so here's the control panel. Wow. So this thing is not like an old school tractor. Looks like there's quite a few safety interlocks, switches, relays, circuit breakers, all that good stuff. Let's see, ignition start module. Let's see what happens when we turn the key on. We have a number 7 light, which is 2 key switch. Okay, let's hit the starter. Starts up. So it seemed to stall out as soon as this number 9 went out. Ignition or fuel on. I guess that would make sense, huh? Let's try again. Oh. So it definitely seems like an intentional shutdown. As soon as that number 9, ignition or fuel light goes out, the thing stops running. And we're not going to do anything here without a wiring diagram. And the operator of this thing told me he couldn't find one anywhere. So I'm going to do my best. Hopefully we have some internet service around here. Go on Google and try to find a wiring diagram for this. So there's the make and model. It actually gives you electrical schematic number ES40D. Well, let's give it a shot. Well, I did some poking around and I found this service manual S40 from serial number 1790 to 7000. Let's see if this is applicable here. Okay, here we go. That looks like our tag. And serial number is that last part. And let's see here. 5804. So that should be this manual. So let's see. It's like table of contents. Here we go. What I want is a wiring diagram. Checklist, all these flow charts probably. Troubleshooting flow charts. We know how much we love those, right? Engine will not crank over, cranks over will not start. I'm not seeing a start stall. Let's see. Here we go, schematics. I like this already. Okay, electrical schematic. It's a Deutz diesel, I think. Let's see. Definitely sounds like a diesel. Oh. Yeah, there it is. Made in Germany. You telling me we're doing some Euro trash today? This is gonna be fun. So we should go to Deutz Diesel Electrical Schematic 618. So let me find that page and see what we have here. Alright, here we go. I think we got the right schematic, hopefully, or at least close enough. Tiny print, we can always zoom in. I want to start at this ignition start module. Let's zoom in a little bit. Alright. So it has 10 pins, it looks like. And judging by the symptoms, see this relay right here? It says fuel solenoid. So when this relay clicks on, it powers up pretty much everything. The fuel solenoid, we have our oil pressure switch, voltmeter. So as you saw, the voltmeter, you know, is when this thing shut off, the voltmeter turned off basically. LED number 9 went off. So it seems to me that this relay right here is being intentionally shut down by the ignition start module. The question is, why does that happen? So what does this module need to be happy to keep this thing running? Well, look at the 10 pins. We have start relay, you know, that works. Tachometer, start input, auxiliary, ground, battery, key power, key bypass, ignition fuel on, and engine fault. Okay? So I'm assuming it needs a tachometer input, and it definitely, you know, this engine fault, let's see what that does. There's an oil pressure switch, so that's normally closed, NC, and when this thing starts up, that probably opens, but if the oil pressure is too low, it closes, and then the start module, you know, shuts the thing off. So potentially could be this oil pressure switch for sure. Let's see. And tachometer, that comes from our alternator. This, I think it's the orange, no, just a sec, let's see here. Tachometer, follow that across, TB41, orange and black wire that is connected to our stator, right? And then it looks like the alternator is turned on again through that main ignition feed, through that same relay actually. See, the relay closes, it feeds power right to the alternator, and that should kick it on. Now, judging by the voltmeter, we didn't get above, what was it, like 11 volts or something. Just want to see, key on. So that relay stays off until you actually start it. You get up to 10 volts, and then it shuts off. Okay. So that potentially is a problem if the alternator isn't being kicked on and doesn't put out a tachometer signal. That could shut it off, or this oil pressure switch. So, you know, we're narrowing it down. I've never worked on one of these things, so just kind of have to use common sense and see where it goes. So let me get some testing equipment out, and we'll do some electrical checks right at this start module. Alright, we're going to start with this alternator since we didn't see the voltage go above 11 volts or so. So there's the main positive terminal. That is this guy right there, the fatter cable on that post. Then we have two smaller gauge wires up here and nothing over here. So I don't know where that last wire comes in. There's an empty spot down here. But anyways, let's see here. Orange and black, that should be our tachometer. And right here I see an orange and black coming up, and it is this wire right here. That's our tach signal. So just for kicks here, let's start it up, see what the tach light does, that little LED. Then I want to unplug this and see if it, you know, changes. That'll just verify what wire we're on. So look at number 2. Okay, let's start it up. He's kind of flickering, and then it shuts off. So now let's unplug this guy. Unplug this guy. Okay. Do the same thing. So number 2 did not flicker. So that was indeed our tach wire. Let's try again. Alright, well, it's probably going to start raining here any second. So our tach wire, at least the wiring integrity is good. So this must be the turn-on wire. I'm guessing the excite wire, or it could be the ground. Let's check. Alright, we got our test light hooked to battery negative. If we touch anything positive, it'll light up. Let's just verify that this common post, battery post, is hot. It is. So now I want to see what happens to this guy right here as we start the engine. And I can't really see it from the back side, so I'm going to have to rig something up so I can see my test light as I start this thing. Alright, got the test light rigged up to that post, to battery negative. So I think we should get a test light as soon as this thing fires up, is that, you know, ignition relay kicks on. So let's see if we can, yeah, okay, we got a shot of the test light right there. So I'm going to hit the start. Yep. We did have a turn on, but that alternator did not put out, did it? So, I mean, I guess we're basically done. I think it needs an alternator. Let's get a voltmeter on this thing and see if it's turning it on or putting out any voltage. Alright, so we just have the alternator hooked up to our battery, and we're going to watch the voltmeter. So we're starting at 12.6. I'm going to crank it and see what happens. So I'm going to have to review this footage since I can't crank it from this side. Well, what'd you guys see? I'm going to pause it and review the footage. Alright, so you saw there that the voltage actually went down since there was a load on the system, but the alternator did not kick on. So, unless we're missing a wire here or something, this alternator is not doing what it's supposed to. So, at this point I'm calling an alternator. I'm going to take another quick look, but that's I think that's it. So 2001 Genie S-40. There you go. Hope you guys enjoy that one. Bye bye. Alright guys, last shot here. Just for kicks, we're on this tachometer wire. I'm just curious to see what the signal is from this generator. nothing. Even though our tachometer pin lit up. Let's try again. Make sure we have good contact here. Ha! There's your problem, lady. So this start-stop module does not like the lack of a tach signal, and therefore we get intentional shutdown. So we can see that the alternator is spinning, but look at the amplitude. It's like, oh, let's see, it peaks out at 800 millivolts. When the alternator kicks on, that AC wave should be, you know, like 20 volts or so, peak to peak. So I'm happy with that. This thing either needs a whole new alternator or, you know, just a regulator assembly. I think it's just, they're just going to get an alternator for this. So that's it, a little bonus footage. Thanks a lot for watching. See you guys next time. Bye bye. So it's the following week, and as you can see, the Genie has moved under its own power. So they did replace the alternator, and it did fire up. So the only thing I want to do to conclude this video is to get a scope capture of that tachometer signal that was missing before. So let's see here. So I've got to get this panel off here, and we'll hook up our scope and do a quick measurement. So just a quick visual here. They did install a new alternator, and my neighbor told me at first it didn't start. So I'm like, well, I know my diagnosis was right. And then they called up the Genie service guy for some reason, and he told whoever installed this that they switched these two wires around. So you can see the alternator is not exactly the same as the old one, but basically this is the exciter terminal, and this right here is the tach signal. Okay, so let's go to our picoscope, and if you remember from last time, this was our signal from the tach, or from the alternator, and the amplitude was 800 millivolts, and that was pin 2 on our start, you know, ignition module. So what we're going to do is run the scope and start this thing up. Let's see here. I'll connect device. My device should be connected. There we go. Beautiful. So let's fire this thing up. So key. Should hear some kind of beep. No. I'm not seeing any life. Did they disconnect the battery? Sweet. Look at our voltage. There's our tach signal. And it runs. I want to put a voltmeter on this and see if our voltage is actually correct on the battery. But if we zoom in on this guy, there is what a proper signal should look like. So like at least 16 volts or more than 10 volts peak to peak. So I'm going to save this waveform, and then we're just going to do a voltage measurement on the system. Alright, now we're going to start it up again. And see the number 2 light's nice and bright now. see, number 6 should be battery voltage. Let's see what that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Interesting. 2 key switch, number 7. I'm not seeing anything on the scope here. Let me double check my connection. Alright, so now we're in the battery voltage pin. My ground was bad on my scope. And we are at 14 volts. Awesome. And our voltmeter is not very accurate, so don't trust that thing. I want to go back to the tach. There is our tach signal. Sorry, my ground is bad. My ground was bad on the scope. I actually put it on this metal stud and I assumed that was ground, but it wasn't. I just put it on here now. So let's zoom in on this guy. There we go. So from about 0 to 16 volts, and it looks like a digital type signal. Very interesting. So that's what we're looking for before, and we didn't have that. That's why this thing didn't run. So that's it. The diagnosis was spot on. All we used was a wiring diagram and some common sense, and the picoscope, which is very very handy. So hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.